Welcome to the Student Affairs One Thing New Professional, a podcast that asks a simple question of new professionals in the field. What is one thing you've learned you feel will help you as you move forward in your career? I'm your host, Stuart Brown, the developer of studentaffairs.com, one of the most accessed websites by student affairs professionals. On our pages, we have the most cost-effective job posting board, listing hundreds of open student services positions and a wide range of webinars. On today's episode, I am very pleased to have Liz Carrel, a residential experience coordinator at the Arkansas School of Mathematics, Science, and the Arts. Welcome to the program, Liz.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Stuart. Thank you so much.
So, Liz, what is your one thing?
If I can backtrack for a second, I know we all have like a pre-pandemic story. So before I got into student affairs for the pandemic, I worked the last 7 or 8 years. I worked for Disney Cruise Line. So when the pandemic happened, it kind of like was just such a segue because I didn't know really what was the next step. And then, what career to choose, obviously, because everything was on a hold. So I was like, well, let me start applying for different positions and different job opportunities. And I feel like that one thing that kind of like helped me through that time of that lockdown of trying to like find what career, what passion, or what that one passion I wanted to do the next step, kind of segued and kind of found myself in residential life or student affairs and found that a lot of things were in common of what I had in the hospitality industry. But the one thing definitely that kind of kept me throughout that whole time of kind of being sane and grounded and just trying to be optimistic for me was staying on the script for like daily affirmation or for anything that you're going through, like challenges, especially some hard times, just staying on the script. I always will just say, stay on the script. And for me at that time, okay, what I knew and what I learned from a previous career in the cruise line industry and hospitality, okay, let's utilize those skills and try to put it into another career that maybe shares similar skills, which I found it was residential life.
When you talk about staying on the script, are you saying more, this is the direction I'm going now, and to follow through and push aside maybe distractions or other things where you might be tempted to change direction?
Just staying on that one direction. Yeah, I would absolutely disagree. Like, staying on script, staying on that one direction, the one like decision. Okay, I made up my decision. I made my choice on this. Let's stick on that. Let's keep out all the other distractions that are, maybe outside sources or external factors that maybe are influencing that decision, that direction. So for me, was staying focused at that time because I wanted to take all different directions. Like, no, let's stick with one path and let's see how this turns out first. And then if this doesn't work out, then maybe we can go another direction.
I think that sounds like something where it probably gave you peace of mind to say, once you had that idea, as opposed to trying to flit from one thing to another.
I didn't want to try like 3 or 4 things because for me, I'm always committed. Every career I've had, this is probably like the 3rd job I've had in my whole entire life. I like to keep loyal. So I was like, okay, I want to find something I like to do next, but that I'm going to do for the long run. Obviously, the cruise line industry was great to settle for that foundation of me now being in student affairs. So I was like, and I kind of always wanted to get back into higher education. So for me, that was my kind of like one thing. I was like, I wanted to stay loyal to the next. For me, I feel like it's always that longevity because I want to keep moving careers or moving paths. Like I want to keep staying on one passion I like and just reminding myself, okay, what is that passion? What is that one thing that I care about? And it's students. And so that's how I kind of got back into student affairs. It was like, I really missed working with students.
What I think is important for people listening, especially young professionals, is that in a sense, it's okay to have loyalty and that you want to stay. I think too many times you read about people going from job to job. There's always something better around the bend, but to settle and make do and also make the best of what you have, because you could go to the next job and you just might keep looking as opposed to saying, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm going to be. I don't have to necessarily be here forever. In the job I just retired from, I was there for 31 years. You don't have to do that, but at least you have some track record, especially if you are going to be looking for another job and maybe a search committee is looking through your resume and saying, okay, there was stability there. Liz, I want to thank you for sharing that one thing. I think that's important, especially for people beginning in the field, because let's say if you're a grad student and you are looking for jobs and there are so many opportunities, different types of institutions, sizes, geography, and it can be overwhelming. But I think once you feel good about an institution, stick with it and stick with it for, I'm going to say, a couple of years at least. And then take stock of what you're doing and then decide, are you going to move on or no? I can make more of a home here. I can advance here and I don't have to go somewhere else.
Absolutely. You summed it up perfectly, Stuart. Thank you.
You have been listening to the Student Affairs One Thing New Professional, a podcast that asks a simple question of new professionals in the field. What is one thing you have learned you feel will help you as you move forward in your career? My guest today has been Liz Carrel, Residential Experience Coordinator at the Arkansas School of Mathematics, Sciences, and the Arts. I'm your host, Stuart Brown, the developer of studentaffairs.com, one of the most accessed websites by student affairs professionals. I hope you'll join us next time for another episode of the Student Affairs One Thing New Professional.